Welcome to Lecture 7, Foreign Policy Decision-Making Models, Rational Actor Model. Introduction. In the last lecture, I pointed out to you the importance of models of foreign policy decision-making. This lecture and some of the subsequent lectures focus on various models used by political scientists in the explanation of foreign policy decision-making. In this lecture, we shall discuss the rational actor model and its limitations. Objectives. At the end of this lecture, you should be able to 1. Discuss the rational actor model, identify the basic assumptions of the model, explain the limitations of the model. Introduction. The rational actor model is based on the rational choice theory. The rational choice theory assumes that human behavior is guided by instrumental reason, and that individuals also choose what they believe to be the best means to achieve their given ends. Along the same line, the rational actor model of foreign policy assumes that decision makers are rational beings and are capable of identifying means and ends, including the relationship between the two. Rationality is a complex concept with different meanings to different people, so we shall try to make it precise what we mean by it. Rationality does not carry any connotations of normative behavior. That is, behaving rationally does not necessarily mean that one behaves morally or ethically. Rather, it is believed that the actions are somehow connected to the goals of the actor. The model assumes that there is some shared goal or national interest for the decision maker to obtain. The rational actor can be defined as those key politicians and bureaucrats in the executive branch, including the president, who are more likely to take a national view as a response to the parochial concerns of the state. The model thus attempts to explain the foreign policy actions taken by a government as a process undertaken by one unified national body. Content. The rational actor model, RAM, holds a number of assumptions about decision makers in the foreign policy making process. This include decision makers are logical and orderly. They are open to arguments and new evidence as they consider evidence available. They learn from history and draw propositions from the past. In the rational actor model of decision making, decision makers go through 4 processes. Goals are clearly identified and ranked in order of preference. All options and alternative options are considered. The consequences of each option are assessed. The value maximizing choice is made. In other words, when there is a problem to be tackled, a rational decision maker takes into account the foreign policy goals of the country and determines which ones take priority over others. Then he identifies and analyzes the various options available. In his analysis, he traces the costs and benefits associated with each option. That is, he tries to estimate the likely consequences of making particular choices. This involves not just the gains and losses, but also estimating the relative likelihood of various outcomes. He then ranks the options from most preferred based on this analysis. On the bottom go options that are costly and unlikely to produce benefits close to the important goals, and on the top are options that are quite likely to work at no great cost. The decision maker chooses the option that is ranked highest among the alternatives. Let us call this option the optimal choice and the prescribed course of action optimal behavior. This is what we mean when we say that a person is optimizing. If you imagine that each outcome is associated with some number called utility or payoff, then the decision maker is choosing the option that yields the highest payoff. So he is maximizing utility. When we talk about optimal choice, we do not assume that actors never make mistakes. In fact, we can evaluate what effect the possibility of making a mistake will have on overall behavior. Mistakes occur when actors erroneously evaluate the situation, either because they misunderstand it or because they do not have the time or resources to do it properly. In addition to mistakes, actors' behavior may sometimes produce unintended consequences, that is, outcomes that the actors had failed to anticipate and that did not figure in the original evaluation of the option. We must distinguish between mistakes and unintended consequences on one hand, and deliberate risk on the other hand. Sometimes actors may choose a course of action that may result in painful outcomes. If they do so deliberately, and that outcome occurs, we cannot say that they have made a mistake. Rather, they took a risk and the odds were against them. Taking risk can be a rational thing to do, and the rational actor model will accommodate that. However, despite the assumed promise of the model in explaining foreign policy decisions, the limitations of the model are substantial. Theodor Sorensen succinctly summarized the problem of the model. Each step cannot be taken in order. The facts may be in doubt or dispute. Several policies, all good, may conflict. Several means, all bad, may be all that are open. Value judgments may differ. Stated goals may be imprecise. There may be many interpretations of what is right, what is possible, and what is in the national interest. Critics have raised a lot of questions as to how feasible the model is in explaining foreign policy actions. Some of the questions include: how much do the actors know about the environment in which they act? How capable are they of processing this information efficiently? Do they have enough time to ponder the alternatives? Are they operating under stress or under mistaken assumptions? How limited are our cognitive capacities? And how does this reflect on our rationality? These problems have to do with the simple fact that we are imperfect humans with limited abilities who operate under certainty and under various constraints of time and resources. Limitations of the rational actor model. In line with the questions raised above, let us examine some of the limitations of the rational actor model. 1. The model assumes that rational actors are objective, but this may not be true as they could be prejudiced and are prone to errors as human beings. 2. The processes to be followed under the model are time-consuming. 3. The model depends greatly on information. However, in foreign policy matters, information is not always comprehensively available or even correctly interpreted to enable the decision makers to make rational choices. Also, there is a tendency of blocking out information that does not agree with what has been believed to be accurate. 4. Decision makers tend to handle many issues at the same time and cannot spend as much time on any individual issue. The pressures of circumstances limit the ability to choose. In addition, in times of crisis, the normal channels of communication and of reference are more likely to be bypassed in order to speed up the process of responding to the particular challenge at hand. This invariably reduces the rationality of the decision output. 5. The cost of undertaking decisions under the model may exceed the benefits to be gained in the quality of decisions to be arrived at. In sum, therefore, the limitations of the rational actor model are significant. Some of these limitations are human. In other words, they are resultant from deficiencies in the intelligence, capability and psychological needs and aspirations of those who make foreign policy decisions under conditions of uncertainty. Also, some of these limitations are organizational. Most of the foreign policy decisions are made by individuals within a group. Most of the time, it is difficult for the groups to arrive at concrete agreement as to what courses of action to take. Thus, problem identification is often delayed, possibly due to inadequate information. In addition, there is always time constraint. Thus, the possibility of errors and miscalculations is very high. Summary: the rational actor model is based on rational choice theory. The model adopts the state as the primary unit of analysis and interstate relations or international relations as the context for analysis. The state is seen as a monolithic unitary actor, capable of making rational decisions based on preference ranking and value maximization. According to the rational actor model, A rational decision-making process is used by a state. This process includes goal setting and ranking, consideration of options, assessment of consequences, profit maximization. 5. Despite being the most common model, it has several limitations. End of lecture 7. Thanks for listening.